Millions of Americans file for bankruptcy every year. But here's the surprising part. Bankruptcy doesn't usually mean losing everything. In many cases, people keep their homes, their cars, and get a legal reset on overwhelming debt. And yet most people don't understand how the process actually works, or when it helps versus when it hurts. Today, we're walking step by step through what bankruptcy really is, how someone files, what the court does, and what happens afterward. Because once you understand the process, bankruptcy stops sounding like a disaster and starts making sense as a legal tool. Bankruptcy is one of the most powerful financial protections available under U.S. law. It can stop collections, pause lawsuits, prevent wage garnishment, even halt foreclosure, at least temporarily. Here's where things change. Instead of creditors controlling the situation, a federal court steps in and creates a structured solution, and that structure protects both sides. This video explains exactly how that happens. Bankruptcy usually happens after debts become unmanageable, but before assets are permanently lost. Typically, the timeline looks like this: missed payments, collection calls, possible lawsuits, judgments, or wage garnishment risk. Then bankruptcy filing. So bankruptcy is not the beginning of a problem. It's often the turning point toward solving one, and understanding how it works helps people make informed decisions instead of reacting under pressure. Welcome to Step by Step Explained, where we break down complex legal and financial processes into clear, practical steps anyone can understand. Now let's walk through what actually happens when someone files for bankruptcy. The first step surprises many people. There isn't just one kind of bankruptcy. The two most common types for individuals are Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. Chapter 7 is often called liquidation bankruptcy. It can eliminate many unsecured debts quickly. Credit cards, medical bills, personal loans. Chapter 13 works differently. It creates a repayment plan over 3 to 5 years. Instead of wiping everything out immediately, it reorganizes payments into something manageable. But this is the part most people don't realize. Not everyone qualifies for Chapter 7. Eligibility depends largely on income. So before anything gets filed, the person usually completes something called a means test. This helps determine which path is available. Once the type of bankruptcy is chosen, the process officially begins with a filing in federal bankruptcy court. This filing includes detailed financial information like income, debts, assets, expenses, property ownership. It's a complete financial snapshot. Think of it like pressing pause on financial chaos and handing the situation to the court. Because the moment the case is filed, something powerful happens next. Immediately after filing, something called the automatic stay takes effect. This is one of the strongest protections in bankruptcy law. It temporarily stops collection calls, lawsuits, wage garnishments, foreclosures, repossession efforts, almost instantly. Here's why this step matters in real cases. People who feel trapped by aggressive collections suddenly get breathing room. Creditors must stop contacting the person directly. Instead, everything goes through the court. For many filers, this is the first moment of relief in months, sometimes years. Next, the court assigns a bankruptcy trustee. The trustee is not a judge and not a creditor. Their job is to review the case and make sure the process follows federal bankruptcy rules. Depending on the type of bankruptcy, the trustee may review documents, verify assets, sell certain property, or oversee repayment plans. But here's something important. Most people who file bankruptcy do not lose everything they own. Federal and state laws protect certain essential property through exemptions. These can include primary vehicles, household items, retirement accounts, sometimes even homes. The trustee's role is to apply those rules fairly. Next comes something called the meeting of creditors. Despite the name, creditors rarely attend. Instead, the person filing bankruptcy meets with the trustee. This meeting usually lasts less than 10 minutes. The trustee asks simple verification questions like, did you review your paperwork? Is the information accurate? Have your finances changed recently? It sounds intimidating, but in most cases, it's straightforward and routine. Here's what this means if someone is dealing with serious debt pressure. The hardest part emotionally is often over once the filing happens. The rest becomes a structured legal process. What happens next depends on the type of bankruptcy filed. In Chapter 7, the trustee reviews whether any non-protected assets exist that could be used to repay creditors. If none exist, which is common, the case moves toward discharge. In Chapter 13, a repayment plan begins. This plan restructures debt into predictable monthly payments over several years. Instead of reacting to multiple creditors, there's one structured court-approved plan, and that structure gives stability during recovery. Let's make this practical. Imagine someone named Alex. Alex loses work hours unexpectedly and begins relying on credit cards to cover basic expenses. Soon, minimum payments increase, late fees stack up, collection calls begin. Eventually, Alex falls behind on a car payment. At this stage, bankruptcy becomes an option. Alex files Chapter 7. Immediately, collection calls stop. The car repossession effort pauses. Credit card debt enters the discharge process. After the trustee reviews the case and confirms eligibility, most unsecured debts are eliminated. Alex now has fewer payments, less stress, and a chance to rebuild financially. That's what bankruptcy is designed to do. Not punish people, but reset unsustainable situations under court supervision. There are several things people often get wrong about bankruptcy. Let's clear up two major ones. Misunderstanding number one: bankruptcy erases all debt. It doesn't. Some debts usually remain. Examples include recent taxes, student loans in most cases, child support, alimony. Bankruptcy helps with many debts, but not every obligation disappears. Misunderstanding number two: everyone loses their house and car. This is one of the biggest myths. Many filers keep both. Protection depends on equity levels, loan status, state exemption rules, and bankruptcy type. But the idea that bankruptcy automatically means losing everything simply isn't accurate. What happens next surprises many people. For some households, bankruptcy actually stabilizes housing situations by stopping foreclosure long enough to reorganize payments. Eventually, most Chapter 7 cases end with something called a discharge order. This court order permanently eliminates qualifying debts. Creditors can no longer collect them. Legally. That's the turning point in the process. From there, collections end. Lawsuits stop. Repayment pressure drops dramatically. In Chapter 13 cases, discharge happens after the repayment plan finishes. Either way, the goal is the same: financial reset under court supervision. But bankruptcy isn't the end of the story. After discharge comes something just as important: rebuilding credit. Understanding how long bankruptcy stays on a credit report, how lenders respond afterward, and how people recover financially step by step is what determines long-term success after filing. And that's exactly what we'll cover next. Bankruptcy can stop collections, protect property, and eliminate debt. But what happens to your credit afterward is what shapes the future. In the next video, we'll walk step by step through what bankruptcy does to your credit score and how people rebuild faster than most expect. Because the recovery phase is where the real transformation begins. If you want more step-by-step explanations of legal, financial, and government processes, subscribe to Step by Step Explained for future videos.